know what I think the problem with this movie was? Bad writing. It was like almost like they didn't review the writing. They dashed it off.
The singing ruins it. I'm sorry.
The story doesn't develop properly, or doesn't, there's some
I think they
missing
tried to
elements.
put too much comedy in such a dark thing.
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's
or too much Disney in such a dark thing.
Well, the question that comes to me in that regard is, who was it for?
I'll tell you what, the theater is full of women.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Hero was a girl. Now, how did you feel about when they blew up the stadium?
Like, I didn't care. It just makes no sense. Welcome to The Real Generation Gap. My name is Shane Schildmeyer.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we were reviewing The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds, and Snakes. Before we dive into this review, please make sure to give us a like, comment, and subscription. Let us know what you think about the Hunger Games franchise, and let's get into this review.
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. First of all, the ballad.
The title's horrendous. Yeah. Almost as horrendous as I thought this movie was.
Oh, I didn't think it was horrendous, but we'll talk about it. Okay. But yeah, I came to understand the songbird part and the snake part.
Yeah.
Ballad is not what any of that means, but somehow they thought of this.
Before we get into this movie, just real quick, had you seen any of the previous Hunger Games?
Yes, I saw the first one.
Okay, do you remember it pretty well or not really?
Yes, it was a movie about teenagers killing teenagers. And I said, well, you've seen one teenager kill one other teenager. You've seen them all.
Yeah.
So I wasn't interested in seeing the rest of them. But when this one came out, I was compelled to go. Mm-hmm. And I was glad I did.
Really?
Because overall, I have lots of disparaging comments. Yeah. There was goofy stuff. But overall, the story had a lot of elements that I liked. And I realized it was not made for me. Mm-hmm. And I try to keep that in mind.
Same. I really try that because I was like a big hater on the first ones. So when I was seeing this one, I was like, be open-minded, try to enjoy it for what it is. And
well, the question that comes to me in that regard is, who was it for? Obviously a young person, or maybe an old person who likes teenagers killing teenagers. I can certainly see that.
Yeah.
But who the heck was this movie made for?
I don't know.
It's young, but
I'll tell you what, the theater is full of women, so.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. The hero was a girl, mm-hmm. and
the original Hunger Games, it's female driven.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I do like archery.
Mm-hmm. Archery is always cool.
There was no archery in this one, really, to speak of. But anyway, I thought the movie was well cast. Mm-hmm. I thought that Rachel Zegler was good in her part.
Okay.
I didn't. Oh, there you go. There's Lucy Gray Baird, Rachel Zegler. She came on with a ridiculous outfit.
Yeah. And
for some reason, this movie was very, very Gaelic.
Yeah.
It was like they had the Irish jig and the whole Irish scene there and the Celtic stuff. And I didn't quite understand that. But one thing you don't know about me is I really like the Topanga banjo and fiddle competition each year. And that's all Appalachia. Mm-hmm. And Appalachia is all that really, that's the real country music. That's really America, like a dirty secret almost. And so I swung with it, mm-hmm. And she did a good job at that. I guess she's a fantastic singer because her singing, although corny and boring,
ruined the movie for me. I thought this movie could have been so cool, and any chance of it being somewhat realistic to me, like pitting me in the world, like, okay, I'm in the world where now these kids got to fight for food, or whatever. It was ruined by this broad singing corny songs about what's going on in her life, and like it just made it so Disney for me. Like,
yeah,
it just totally ruined it for me.
It was supposed to be endearing.
It's supposed to be a scary world where these people who went through a war now, like the enemies of the war, got to fight for resources, and they put in these Hunger Games. That's a very dark and violent world, in my opinion, and it's ruined by this, by these Disney songs. And anytime I was like, oh, this is getting kind of cool, she starts singing again.
Right.
I'm like, that's not realistic.
She did a lot of songs.
It's not realistic at all.
Right.
And I get it's a movie, and it's probably for kids or something, but
Well, that's how those people are.
It's pretty violent if it's for kids. Like, again, who is this for? I don't get it. And like the opening scene, they're choosing who's in the Hunger Games, right? They're choosing who gets sent, and they pick Lucy Gray, and
well,
she starts singing in any occupied Nazi style, whatever they're supposed to be. They're not just gonna let some girl just start singing. They would have hit her in the back of the head with a rifle.
Right, a slow. Look at the outfit. Look at the outfit.
Yeah.
And there was no meaning to that.
No.
It didn't add to the story.
Other than it was her mom's.
Well, it was. Yeah, but who cares?
Yeah,
but
who cares?
It just made her a unique character, like identifiable, instantly. You could pick her out of the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, and she was a real freak show.
Yeah.
And what you said a moment ago about they picked all the people to be involved, they had like a real young little girl. Then they had like a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
It was like, why
Also,
were they? They're going to be combatant against each other?
They're supposed to be kids, and then there's bar scenes. I felt like that was made no sense.
Right.
I mean, it's an alternate universe.
Well, that's
so maybe,
how those people are.
Yeah. Maybe they let kids in the
That's
bar.
why they lost the war.
Yeah.
You know?
Those heathens, yeah.
And then the people who won the war, they were no prize either. Mm-hmm. They were this like weird high society, but
they also have their own poverty within their high society.
The guy that I know that you loved, Jason Schwartzman.
I loved Jason. That was my favorite part of the movie.
Right,
that was actually my favorite part of the movie. Jason Schwartzman's comments.
What a macabre character he was.
Yeah.
Right? Like making jokes about all the deaths. And, oh, another one dead. Too bad. Drag it away.
I like was like, I'm going to need a drink. I'm going to need a drink. Right. I loved Wes Anderson. He's in like all his films.
Right.
He was just comedy gold, you know? Like, he had a lot of like little lines that like made me chuckle.
What a great, weird character guy. Mm-hmm. We're going to see him. He's not over the hill. I mean, we're going to see him again and again. Yeah. He's going to be cast in these kind of roles, and that's cool.
Yeah,
and he made it even more macabre. Mm-hmm. You know, he made it. The fact that he was so lighthearted, and he was that like the cheesy announcer. Mm-hmm. You know, another one bites the dust. Yeah. Okay, drag him off and bring in the next batch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, what a cold-hearted, weird monster.
That's kind of the problem with this movie. It's supposed to be this cold-hearted, evil world, and there's just lots of corny moments.
They're having too much fun.
Yeah, his moments are kind of corny too, but I loved them.
Now, how did you feel about when they blew up the stadium?
Like... I didn't care. Like, it just makes no sense. Like, what?
Talk about upsetting the apple cart, right? They have the combatants, all these young kids that are going to kill each other. They're just about to disperse and grab their weapons and everything, and the whole stadium is blown up by terrorists, and now they can run in different directions. And you know what's funny? Some of the young people, they decide to make a run for it because there's chaos. Mm-hmm. And the people who are enforcing this thing, they shoot them. Mm-hmm. How hard would it be to just round them up? Yeah. They're in the middle of the center city. They're from these outlying areas. They have nowhere to go and hide or anything. They'd be rounded up in no time.
They shoot the ones running, but not the ones singing. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You wanted that to happen.
Yeah, I wanted. Right. Every time she sang,
everybody just froze.
The guys with me in the theater heard me say, what the hell's going on in this stupid movie? Like, why is she singing again? Every time. And I'm just going to bring that up over and over because I hated this movie.
Right. Even that one time when they were down in the basement and they shot each other or whatever, he told the girl,
you're going to go back out on that stage and you're going to sing.
Don't just go upstairs and sing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody, like the gunshots, right? Yeah. Just go up there, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, another person who was a big player in the movie was Viola Davis. And she's done serious acting parts. She's a legitimately good, really good, serious actress. But you couldn't be in this movie because...
I hated her in this movie.
Yeah.
Just way over the top.
Right.
Way over
overdressed,
the top.
over-made up character.
Like
she was like Jason Schwartzman doing this part.
The most loony, like, evil scientist, cartoony, like... I don't know. It was just...
But where her power derived from was never really quite explained.
Exactly.
So she's a Bond villain, right? She's, Dr. No or somebody. She's like one of those kind of characters. But they didn't need her. She just seemed to have this power coming from God knows where. All through the movie, she was a philosopher of sorts. She had a philosophy about what was going on. but you didn't care about that either.
No.
So it's
Yeah, I think I'm most upset because I felt there's a lot of commentary and ideas in this movie that could be really good.
yes,
You know, about like
yes,
being kind of in a prison state, revolting, being against your oppressors, and bringing peace, you know, amongst, you know, class lines, I guess, almost.
right, yes.
I think there's a lot of good ideas.
Yeah,
in
when
there.
the war is over, you don't keep punishing the loser.
Yeah, exactly, and kind of like, you know, history's written by the winner. You know,
Right,
They
yeah.
talk trash about all these people being low lives and scummy, but they're just people, and you put them in that scenario to make them low lives and scummy. So there's a lot of good commentary, and especially reflecting on the world we're in. You know, the world in Israel, all the stuff that's gone on in Afghanistan and Iraq and everything throughout my life. I think that there's good ideas in this movie that can be related to the real world, but it was just a terrible, corny movie.
And in addition to that, they had the country scenes. So here are these people. This girl won the Hunger Games. She's a very high level celebrity, but yet she can go out in the country and go miles out into the country and go to the lake and take her shoes off and run around and nobody knows where she is.
Yeah.
And that would totally not happen.
No.
There's not that kind of countryside's not available.
No. Yeah.
So, and then she wanted to like, well, we'll just go here, we'll live here, and of course she wants to live there with the, I don't even know if he's the protagonist or what.
No. So yeah, that's the this is a prequel to the other Hunger Games. Again, I saw the first one. I don't remember it at all, but apparently he's the bad guy in the other franchise. Or I think he's a bad guy, I think, in the other franchise. So it's kind of like how he becomes the villain. And again, this is my assumption. Don't tear me up in the comments.
No, get him.
Get him.
Kill him in the comments.
So
he needs
I
a
mean,
roasting.
yeah. I looked into it, and that's what I could find. That it's about him becoming the villain.
He's a very Nazi-looking guy, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he is, especially when they shave his head.
And then his friend.
See, that's another problem. Like, he had no. I mean, maybe it can be, you know, that's his character development, but it seemed like he wants to be a good guy, then he wants to be a bad guy, then he wants to be a good guy, then he wants to betray his best friend, then he wants to be a good guy again, then he wants to win the girl over, then he's like, screw this girl, and I'm going to kill you, and then it's just like, I don't see any lineage with him developing his character. It's just all over, in my opinion, it was all over the place. But maybe that's how a maniacal evil person acts, you know?
Once again, the mask that you wear,
Yeah.
all the stuff that we talked about, you know, a few weeks ago there, the Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Like he went through all those phases.
Yeah.
Like he had his feminine side, he had
Yeah.
his evil side, he had everything came out of him.
So maybe there was development. Maybe I'm being a little biased, but to me it seemed a little too chaotic. But
He was a well-developed character, but you're right. The movie's very chaotic in that regard. So, and then Peter Dinklage is a great actor.
I love
There's
him.
no question about it. But the problem is, I can only see him as Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah.
I don't care who he,
especially in a role,
we Lannisters pay our debts.
especially where he kind of dresses the same as, you know,
Right,
like in that movie,
right.
yeah, or in that show.
He
Yeah.
looked like right out of Game of Thrones
Yeah.
in this. He
Yeah.
looked like the same guy.
And he is a great actor, though.
So I've seen him in other movies.
Yeah,
So there's no question about that.
He's
The
even
same thing-
pretty good in the
Viola
the
Davis,
X-Men.
the casting, they had the people. You know what I think the problem with this movie was? Bad writing.
really, okay.
I think that the story doesn't develop properly or doesn't, you know,
I
there's
think
some
they
missing
tried to
elements.
put too much comedy in such a dark thing.
Something like that.
Yeah,
There's
or
not
too
a-
much
there's not a
Disney in such a
continuity.
dark thing.
Yeah, it just lacked continuity of there's some
Because
kind of flow.
the violent scenes are pretty cool. They're pretty cool, you know, like people are getting stabbed, getting shot. I'm like, oh, that's what I came for, and it wasn't a lot of that, to be honest.
No, I said it before and I'll say
But
it
you
again.
liked this movie. Why are you turning it up?
I liked it because it had lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciated lots of parts. I said, well, this is an interesting study of human nature. And I was spellbound at times to see what would happen. There were a lot of things that were out of character for people. And I don't know, do you know what the word plinth means?
No.
Tom Blythe, you know, whatever Cornelius or whatever his
Snow,
name.
Cornelius Snow.
Yeah, but it was not Cornelius. It was like more letters. I never could quite get it. I had to look it up. His best friend was the really, really rich kid. His father was some big shot.
Yeah.
And their name was Plinth.
Okay.
And when you have a statue like a guy up on a horse in the center of town, the square thing that he's standing on, that's the plinth.
Oh.
So the fact that that was the guy's name, like he was the base upon which Snow was standing. And even Snow, in Game of Thrones, there was a guy named Snow, right?
Yeah, Jon Snow. Jon Snow.
Right. Like he was. So here we had another Snow guy.
Yeah.
So between him, the whole Lannister thing, and then the Snow guy, and I just was like, is
this a Game of Thrones? Like, are they kind of
some
knocking
kind of
off
little
it a little
GOT
bit?
thing going on there, and that I didn't like that. The movie, first of all, was 2.5 hours long, which is long for you.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of, especially for a movie where this chick keeps singing and I'm annoyed with it.
And it happened a lot, like right to the end.
Everything.
Every
resolution to her problems is break out
like
into
every
song.
20 minutes.
Yep.
It was like a 3-minute like.
Exactly.
And then on top of it was $78 million.
Oh, was it?
It's a lot of money to recuperate, right? You're not getting that back the first night. So I think that I'll be interested to see how it does.
So,
What the box office is, because I don't know who it was made for.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has a following.
Everyone
it's a fifth
that was coming out seemed to be like stoked. Like, oh, we got to rewatch the old ones, and it was so good. And and you heard them refer to Katniss in the movie, right? When they're like, oh.
I didn't get that.
So Katniss is the main character from the original series.
Okay.
So I don't know if this movie was implying that it's that girl's daughter or what, because why would they bring up the name Katniss, but they're referring to a vegetable of some sort? But they did bring up her name, so I'm probably missing something.
Maybe
there.
that it was her mother's dress, the weird dress that she had that was just out of this world.
Yeah, we're missing something, but everyone that came out of the theater was pretty stoked. And again, they're mostly female. They're mostly stoked.
Well, that's good.
I wasn't, yeah.
That's they made the right thing for those people, I guess. But
those people are easily amused.
I liked it. Okay, here's an element that I liked, okay? The bureaucrats were miserable. And that's how it is in real life. So the fact that they had miserable bureaucrats, when Snow decided to go to District 12, and the guy there was just a military man. He was meat and potatoes. He's like, look, you did good. We're going to get you out of here. We're going to send you to a better place. He didn't want to go to a better place. He wanted to stay with his girlfriend. That's why he went there to begin with. That guy was a soul dead bureaucrat. He only cared about the troops, what his job was within that system. And you could see that all the people involved in the Hunger Games, it was all bureaucratic. When they were training the guys in the university was all bureaucratic. And now in our social life, we have universities that are all bureaucratic. There's no place for independent thinking or creative thought or imagination. You went in the class, you listened to the speaker, you finished the test exactly what you were told, and this is how this society was. So it was a real post-apocalyptic, current apocalyptic illustration of the way we were living, and it was ugly.
Yeah.
And the rich people were ugly. They used their money and power and influence to do different. Many times, he said to his friend, the Plinth kid, "Have your father, pay off some guys and get him out of here.
You're gonna be fine. You're rich."
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a commentary on reality TV and how, how they were trying to be like, oh, we need to make the audience care about these characters and stuff.
Right.
And that's so reality TV. You're calling in for Survivor because you want your guy to make it to the next round and stuff.
Right. If somebody just methodically killed everybody, the audience wouldn't react to that. But they wanted them to be characters. They wanted Lucy Gray to be this endearing, weird, somebody you could hope or something. Yeah, and they tried to have other people. They had, one guy who was sick right from the get-go. Yeah. And they wanted there to be sympathy. One of the things I really did like was they said, you people who are helping, because everybody had a sponsor. A rich sponsor would talk to the person that was going to be slaughtered in the Hunger Games. They were supposed to help them in some way. So one rich decided to go and torture her Hunger Game contestant a little bit. Offered her something, took it back, offered her something back. And when the girl finally got it, she broke the bottle and stabbed her in the throat. So the rich girl got killed.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Well, that's not a spoiler. It happens right in the beginning. But it's so great that somebody, it's like, you want a violent caged animal?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tantalize play with the tiger, keep playing with the tiger, right?
And that's what the movie kept trying to say, like, these are people. These are people, especially with the other character. What did you say his name was?
Plinth.
Plinth, yeah.
Yeah.
These are people, these are people, these are people. We got to stop treating them like they're vermin. And that was kind of like what happens when you cage up people. They act that way.
Right. They're eventually going to get pretty violent, and you're going to be the... Through the movie, he made decisions about who he was and what he would do.
Yes.
One of the quotes I liked was, he said, we're going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to be able to, catch up on our bills. And his mother said, and we'll have chocolate.
Yeah.
And that was such a real,
yeah.
Because they were really poor, and that was obviously a luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a ghastly recognition of the dark side of man. And Lucy was no better. She had a dark side. She was a real, like a scatterbrain. She didn't have a plan.
Yeah, she was supposed to be some kind of like gypsy type character or something.
Right,
Gypsy
just happened
artist.
to luck out time after time.
Yeah.
And,
sing her way through it.
And then there was the whole snake thing.
Yeah.
So she was the songbird. And the snakes...
He's the snake.
The snakes are just something written into the movie.
No, I think he is the snake.
Well, right. This is the dark side, right?
Yeah.
But it was great that the snakes, if they were your friend, if they smelled your essence and everything, and he took the handkerchief with her essence, and trained a 500-gallon drum of snakes.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, those scenes where they inundated the one guy, and he just stoically, he knew he was going to die, so he stood, let him bite him.
Then they killed the poor chick, the poor little girl with autism or whatever.
Yeah, the character, the people, that's one of the things that I really didn't like. It would be one thing if they had, I don't know how many districts, there was like 20 of these contestants, right? If they were all combatant people, if they were warrior guys and warrior girls.
Yeah.
If they
I think that's the point. It's a lottery. We don't know who's going.
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous to have a helpless person. One guy was really ill. One girl was really young.
Yeah.
They had no chance. But it became a Lord of the Flies situation,
Absolutely.
right? 4 or 5 of them banded together.
Which makes no sense.
And they became a team.
Why would you do that?
One of you...
Yeah, exactly.
Only one can survive.
Why would you do that?
So at some point...
That makes no sense.
They gave them gladiator weapons. So, yeah, I guess you join together at first and pare down the crowd,
Yeah. Which, but you got to start...
You're going to be betrayed.
Yeah.
By definition. You have to be.
I'd rather just be on my own.
All those things, who do you become? What do you become? What's your real nature? How far to your dark side do you go? How do you live with yourself afterwards? I liked all those things. I liked all those, self-introspection. But I didn't see the crowd self-introspecting. Mm-hmm. I didn't see anybody coming out going, wow, that was heavy, man.
Yeah, no.
I have to look at my own heart and see, what would I do? Would I betray the girl? Would I betray the guy?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it could have been such a good movie. Like, so many, real things inside of it. Like, the things you like. They're so real.
Right.
But it was just a cornball
somehow
suit movie.
The writing... It was almost like they didn't review the writing. They dashed it
the
off.
The singing ruins it. I'm sorry. And I love a good musical, so I don't know.
Yes, you do. Right.
It's the singing or something. It made it way too Disney.
They had all these things, but I didn't buy it. But you're telling me the audience did.
Yeah, the audience liked it a lot. So, from my perception.
Well, we bring it then from a 5 to a 6 then for me.
Yeah. You said you liked it, though. You're going to give it a 6?
Oh, believe me, if I didn't like it, I'd get a 2. If I could understand who this was for. This is the generation gap. I'm
more than a generation gap, because I didn't like it either. It's, I don't know what it... I mean, I didn't like it, and you said you liked it.
It had a lot of good stuff in it. It had
I don't
moments.
think it's a generation gap. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of gap it is.
So, I'm going to stick with my rating of 6, up from 5.
I think it's interesting that you say you like this movie, but you give it a 6. I mean, I guess that's better than neutral. 5 is neutral, right?
Well, I'm being honest. I did like it. I was glad I went to it. I didn't go out there angry. Why did they make me go to this? Or why would anybody? I kind of accepted it for what it was. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't Elon Musk fighting Mark Zuckerberg. That's the one I'm waiting for. It was Wacky Kids or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. What are you gonna say?
I'm probably going with a 4. 4.
You really didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Like I said, I wish it could have been such a cool movie. I feel like it really had a lot of commentary on real life stuff that could have been really cool. But something about it was just too Disney for me. Too campy. And I feel like we really should have had someone who's a big fan of The Hunger, the original, or at least had seen the originals.
No, I saw the original. I remembered it.
But did you see the whole
Yeah,
series? 1 through...
Oh, no. I just saw the first one.
Yeah, I wish we had someone who saw 1 through 4 with us to just like kind of
Right.
explain things. And
Well, I talk to people after these movies on the way out. I grab a couple of people, and I they were both girls this time. You're right, because it was really a lot of girls there. And I asked them, and they said exactly what you said. They went like, "It was awesome."
yeah.
I'm like, I'd like to hear a little elaboration on
Yeah.
that, but they didn't. They just like, you
Yeah.
know, they just. I mean, look at me. They
Yeah.
like, you don't get it, and you never will. Just
Yeah.
keep on walking and out to the car. It was late at night, 2.5 hour movie. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it went for me, and that's how it went for you, and that's how it went for the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah. So that's a review of the Hunger Games, Ballad of Birds and Snakes or whatever. My name's Shane Schildmeyer,
I'm Fred Satilli.
and that's a review. Thank you for watching The Real Generation Gap. Please give us a like, comment, and a subscription. Let us know what you think of this movie. If you like the other Hunger Games, if we're totally off with this movie and we don't know what we're talking about and it's actually a masterpiece, let us know what you think. Burn us. Give us your best mean comment you can. Until the next one, we'll see you there.